Chapter 2. Detective Inspector Francis Sadler looked down at the rigid corpse of the ashen man lying on the stone slab and swallowed the bile that had risen in his throat. The corpse had a solid muscularity that death hadn't yet robbed it of. Sadler noted the large biceps visible through the thin cotton of the man's grey t-shirt. It was a good place to focus his attention, because his eyes were irresistibly drawn to the bloom of red that spread out from the chest. The poppy red stain suggested the victim hadn't bled as much as Sadler would have expected for a gunshot wound. Death had come quickly, the pumping heart stilled in a beat. Someone with a good aim or a lucky chance. His eyes moved upwards. It was the face of all the dead he had seen, devoid of expression. If you could tell how someone had died by reading their faces, it was an art that Sadler had yet to master. Great place for a body, a morgue. I'd have never thought of looking there. Sadler looked across at the pathologist, Bill Shields, who was typing something onto his tablet with one finger. Bill's eyes met his, and he shrugged. Simply stating a fact. A first for me. I still have the capacity to be surprised, you know. A slight noise from the doorway alerted Sadler to the fact that Detective Constable Connie Childs had arrived. She was sweating slightly, small drops of moisture scattered across her temple, which she brushed with her sleeve. She looked around the room, and Sadler could see her assessing the paint hanging in strips off the wall and the cracked stone tile steeped in damp. Only when she had taken this in did she finally look at the man lying on the stone block. She turned to Sadler with a glint of amusement in her eyes. He could feel his mood darkening. Bill's already made the joke, thank you, Connie. I haven't said anything. She shot Bill a conspiratorial look, and Sadler saw the pathologist smile into his computer. Sorry I was late. I had to leave the car on the road and follow the track up here on foot. Like everyone else, it seems. There are no signposts at all, you know. I'm not surprised. The only visitors here these past 50 years, I suspect, have been ghouls, looking to visit a place that should have been left to history. It was one of them that found the body. An urban explorer he called himself. He seems genuine enough, though, even has his own website. It is a morgue, isn't it? Who would build something like this in the middle of nowhere? What's the name of this place again? Hales End Mortuary. It must be coming up for its centenary. It was built during the First World War to help process the casualties that were being shipped back from France. It's got an interesting history. Sadler felt another urge to leave the dank building. Connie had perked up. The First World War? Why would the casualties end up in Derbyshire? She sounded curious. Really, they should have been looking at the body behind them, but Sadler welcomed the distraction. He looked at the green algae-covered floor as a beetle scurried in front of him, seeking refuge in the deeper darkness of the room's recesses. You need to read up on your history. There were over 38 million casualties in that war. They ended up where there was room, including here in Derbyshire. There were 3 hospitals at one time in Buxton looking after the injured. They requisitioned buildings for the war effort and converted them into temporary hospitals. But this looks permanent. A lot of the injuries were severe. People more often than not died from their wounds, so you needed a mortuary. They built this place to prepare the bodies to be sent to wherever for burial. Connie was looking at him now, her focus shifting from the room onto him. You know a lot about it, if you don't mind me saying. Sadler did mind. The place had been a regular haunt when he'd been a bored teenager looking for an evening's recreation. He could remember breaking into the building a couple of times with his friends. They would scale the ageing wire fence and, with torches in their hands, scare themselves by locking around in the chilled building. Once, he remembered, he had lain on one of the 2 cold trays and pretended to be dead. His friend Michael had made a more convincing corpse with his hands pressed primely together. Sadler could remember his heart thudding in his chest and the cold finger of fear on him. To Connie, he simply said...